Hello everyone, this is Miss Xiao. Today, I'll be having a short clip to talk about quadratic formula. So let's get started. What exactly is quadratic formula? So I would like to show you what this formula comprises of. Taking a look at this slide, quadratic formula is actually a formula that is applied when we have a quadratic equation. Okay, so how does a quadratic equation look like? It looks like this form: ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. So let's take a look on the left-hand side of the equation. When we have an a, b, and c, these are numbers. These can be in the form of integers. This can be in the form of fractions. This can be in the form of decimals. So they are finite numbers, finite values. That means they are not unknowns. Unknowns are your x's and your y's. And on the right-hand side of the equation is the one and only digit 0. So when you have something in this form, okay, a is the number in front of x squared term, which is the coefficient of x squared. B is the coefficient of the x term, and c is actually the constant term. Now with the values of a, b, and c, we can find the solution to this, which is that of x, by substituting these values into the formula as you see at the bottom over here. And it goes x equals to negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac out of 2a. So let's take a look and see how we can apply this formula to various questions. Question 1. Okay, so these questions are basically taken from past year examination papers from the secondary 4 preliminary exams of G1 papers. G1 meaning the normal technical papers. Okay, and from start to end, as you will notice, each of such questions actually takes up 3 marks. 3 marks. That's generous. So let's run through how we can actually get the 3 marks by applying the formula such that you will not find it difficult at all. Okay, so let's take a look at the question. First question, solve x squared minus 3x minus 17 equals to 0. Okay, so first and foremost, you can see that on the right-hand side, it is in the form of x squared term, x term, and the constant. Right-hand side is 0. We can straight away maybe just list out, write down the formula. So x equals to negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac out of 2a. Next, let's identify the values of a, b, and c. So a is the coefficient of x squared. So we have no number over here. When there is no number, the coefficient is just 1. Okay, coefficient of b would be this number over here before x, which is negative 3. And the constant term would be this entire number here. So even if there is a negative sign, we will bring in the negative sign. And so c is negative 17. Next step, in order to find x, we just need to substitute these values of a, b, and c into the formula to get them. So x equals to, all right, let's start. Negative b, so negative. Now what do I have for b? B is negative 3 plus minus. Okay, next I will sub in the values under the square root. So b squared, negative 3 squared minus 4, a and c. Now, a and c being together means a times c. So 4ac out of 2a. Okay, so the step above, was just the substitution that I have done for all values of A, B, and C. Take note that if there is a negative sign in the values, do put it in as well. Next, I'm going to use the calculator to work out each of these values, and we will simplify um, the expression. So the first thing that I want to work out will be this. Okay. And what do I have? Negative. So I will use my calculator. I will press down minus bracket -3. Okay, this gives me 3. The next thing that I will do is to work out the values within the bracket, within the square root sign over here. Okay, so let's work it out. I have gotten 77 within the square root sign. And the denominator, lastly, I will have to work that out as well using calculator. And that would give me 2. Now, next, I will move on to solving it. And if you notice, over here, there is actually a plus minus sign. So this means that when I work this question out, my first solution would be to press this within the calculator. I will take the addition sign, which is found on top. This will give me the first solution. And the second solution, instead of the addition sign, I will put the sign at the bottom, which is the negative sign, within the expression. Okay, and now let me use the calculator to work out the individual solutions of x. Let's see. Okay, so for my first solution, up to 2 decimal places, I will have 5.89. And my second solution, up to 2 decimal places, I will get -2.89. So I will put down what I rounded it up to. And in the answer column, I will just put answer space. I will just put the answers down. So this will be my 3 marks worth of solution. So for the following few questions, as I try it out, do work it out together with me with your calculator. I am actually working out the questions in real time. So there will be pauses every now and then, and you can join me along with it. So let's move on to the next question. All right, next question tells you to solve x squared plus 2x minus 5 equals to 0. Give your answers correct to 2 decimal places. Similarly, as before, let's just quote the formula first. X equals to -b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac out of 2a. Next, let's put down the values of a, b, and c. So the value of a would be the coefficient of x squared, and we don't see anything. When we don't see anything, if you remember, the coefficient is 1. So the value of a is 1. The value of b is +2. And the value of c is -5. With that, I think we are good to work out the value of x. So let's substitute the values in. So x equals to -b plus minus b squared minus 4ac out of 2a. Okay. And next, let's move on to simplify what we have. And if you remember, when we do simplification, let's simplify whatever that is within the square root sign and whatever that we have here at the denominator. So within the square root sign, let's work it out. I have 2 square minus 4 times 1 times -5. I ended up with 24. Did you get that as well? And in my denominator, 2 multiplied by 1 will give me 2. Next, I am going to space out both my solutions. My first solution would be -2 plus root 24 out of 2. And my second solution, -2 minus root 24 out of 2. Subsequently, let me work on each solution to get to the final answer in 2 decimal places. So work with me. For my first solution, I ended up with a 1.44948973, rounding off to 2 decimal places, 1.45. And the second one, I would end up with a -3.44948973, which rounds off to -3.45 to 2 decimal places. So these are my solutions. Moving on, let's take a look. Again, we have a question that looks quite similar to the first two. Let's code the formula first. So x equals to -b plus minus b squared minus 4ac out of 2a. Values for a, b, and c, I think we are able to see quite clearly in this question. You should be more familiar now. So a equals to 3, b equals to -5, and c equals to -7. Now let's substitute these values into the formula to get the answer. X equals to -b. Okay, so negative sign goes there first, and b itself is -5. I need to put a bracket. Okay, -b b square minus 4ac out of 2a. Next, we will simplify. And let's take some time to simplify these portions here. Okay, where you see a lot of brackets and all, it's good to always simplify so we don't have such a complicated expression. Okay, so let's hit this into our calculator and we will end up with 5 plus minus. Okay, next part. The digits within the square root, let's work it out. I ended up with 109. And the denominator, 2 times 3, that makes 6. Following that, let's split it up into 2 solutions. So 5 plus root 109 out of 6, or 5 take away root 109 out of 6. Let's work out both solutions. My first solution, 2.573384418. To 2 decimal places, 2.57. And for the second solution, I ended up with a -0.9067177515. 2 decimal places, -0.91. So these are my solutions. I have another one here. And again, it says solve for this particular equation. Ooh, And you will realize that this equation looks a bit different from the first view. We do have some terms on the right. Now, how do we make it zero? When we make the right-hand side of the equation zero, then it will look something like what we have in the previous few questions. Okay, so if you recall, when we want to use the quadratic formula, it needs to be in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. Now we have these things here, these values. To get rid of them, we need to take them away from the right-hand side. Okay, so let's bring them to the left-hand side. Let's start out with the equation given to us. And what happens when we don't want these values on the right-hand side? Well, we remove them. So what is the opposite of 2x? We take away 2x on the left, on the right, and we should also do likewise on the left-hand side. We don't want the 5 on the right-hand side, the negative 5, so we add a 5 to negate that. Similarly, we will also add a 5 on the left-hand side to do that. Now, what are we left with? On the right, on the left-hand side, remains x squared. Okay, so I'm going to bring x squared down. On the left, we have negative 7x, take away 2x. So I'm actually taking away 9x. And of course, we added a 5 to the left. What happens now to the right-hand side? We have 2x, take away 2x, so that's gone. And we have negative 5, well, we add 5 to it, and so this is also gone. And that means that on the right-hand side, we have no more terms. You realize now that what we have over here in this equation is already in the same form as the equation that we have before we can use the quadratic formula. Now we are ready to use the formula. So back to the first step. To use the formula, let's quote the formula. So x equals to negative b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac out of 2a. Let's now also identify the 3 values we need to substitute in, namely a, b, and c. So coefficient of x squared, that's 1. So a equals to 1. Coefficient of x, negative 9. So b is negative 9. And coefficient, beg your pardon, the constant term is 5. So c equals to 5. Now, finally, value of x, let's substitute the values in. Negative b plus minus b squared minus 4ac out of 2a. Okay. And let's simplify this, the expression. The highlighted parts, we're going to simplify them. So negative sign multiplied by negative 9. I'll end up with a 9. Now let's work on the numbers within the square root sign. So you have I ended up with 61. And the denominator, 2 times 1, 2. Next, let me split up the solution into 2 parts. And finally, let's work to the answer. Okay, I ended up for the first solution, 8.4051244838. So up to 2 decimal places, 8.41. And for the second solution, I have 0.594875162. So I round off to 2 decimal places. I have 0.59. So I put my rounding as 2dp. Two solutions, x equals to 8.41 or x equals to 0.5. So that's how I work these questions out. Finally, solve. Okay, solve for this quadratic equation. Okay, again, let's quote the formula. So we have x equals to negative b plus minus b squared minus 4ac out of 2a. Next, we find the values of a, b, and c, and we substitute into the formula. So value of a is actually the coefficient of x, and in this case, it is 1. A equals to 1. B, coefficient of x, let's take the negative sign as well. So that's negative 12. And coefficient, the last value is the constant value. So C is 17. Let's now substitute the values in. Negative B, so the B itself is negative 12. B squared minus 4AC out of 2A. Let's work this out. This and this. Okay, so negative sign multiplied by negative 12, we end up with a 12. Let's work out the values within the square root sign. I ended up with a 76 out of 2 times 1, which is 2. Split up into two mathematical statements. 12 plus root 70, pardon me, 76 out of 2, or 12 take away root 76 out of 2. And finally, let's work to our answer. I have 10.35889894. So the question did not tell me to give the answer to 2dp. So by default, if it's a running number and it cannot be expressed as a fraction or otherwise finite number, it will be 3 significant figures. So 10.4. Next solution, I will have a 1.6411011056, and to 3SF, it is 1.64. So these two are my answers. Well, hope you have found this clip helpful to your learning. It is a formula that the more you use, the more you're familiar with it, and in no time, you'll find that this is probably one of the most doable kind of questions you can attempt to score that generous 3 marks. So all the best. And if you find that this clip has been helpful, you may want to follow us on Facebook for more learning resources. Every now and then, I do post clips and short clips to show you how to work out various questions. There are also worked solutions, and there are also inspirational stories to guide you and to lead you on to greater heights in maths. So join us together to learn in G1 and G2 Maths Learning Community on Facebook. See you there. Bye.